received this book as a Christmas present. It's a Solitaire rule book from 1910. We're going to be very gentle with it. It's been super interesting to flip through and see all the games. Solitaire and Patience, 70 games to test the card player's skill and make a lonely hour pass quickly, by Jones and Hapgood, published in 1910. You can see all the games it has. And I didn't make any marks in the book, those were just there when I got it, but you can see we've got Demon, that's Canfield. We've got Emperor, Florentine, Miss Milligan, Monte Carlo, Flower Garden, Indian, Canfield, that's Klondike. And, yeah, so I just wanted to flip through the book a little bit, look at some of the games and diagrams, and then I'm going to pick, or I already picked, a game out that I'm going to be playing from this book. It's a bit of an obscure game. It's not, well, we'll talk about it. So, we have Demon. This is Canfield. You can see, they don't show the reserve in the diagram, but it's got the 4 columns. You can see some other random games here. This is the game we're going to be playing today. It's called Prison. We'll talk more about that when we're going to play it. And here we've got the Emperor's game, now just known as Emperor. You can see the 10 columns. It's a 40 Thieves variant. And here we've got Florentine, the iconic star-shaped layout. We've got Miss Milligan. You can see the layout. And they also talk about the special mechanic of waving or weaving, where you can pick up an entire pile and sort of put it in stasis. It's kind of like a free cell that can hold an entire stack. It's pretty cool. I haven't played that game much, but I think it's very popular. We've got Monte Carlo. Here we've got Flower Garden. This is one of my favorites. I'm going to be doing a video on this one pretty soon. You can see back in the day they used to play Flower Garden in these crazy fans of 6 instead of the columns of 6 that we do it in now because we're all boring. But it's clear why they stopped doing this, because it's very inconvenient when you actually try to play it that way. This is a cool game. I played this one a little bit. It's sort of a straightforward 2-deck alternating color game, but it's got this interesting win condition where you have to stack all the aces to 10, and then you have to have the face cards on the tableau stacked underneath all of them. So it has to kind of end up perfect in the end. We've got Indian. This is another 40 Thieves variant. And then finally, we've got Canfield, the game now known as Klondike. It doesn't look like it looking at the diagram, but that's because the cards are all squared together in this diagram. If you read the description, it says the first packet has 1, the second 2, the third 3, etc. So it is Klondike, and then the rest of the rules, they describe Klondike. But the game we're playing tonight is Prison, or The Prison. And I'm going to read the description first, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. And then we'll get to playing some games. So this description, along with some of the others in the book, was actually not written by Jones and Hapgood. It was copied from Mary Whitmore Jones. But Hapgood makes a couple changes to it that I think are reflective of a misunderstanding of the rules. So I'll explain that after we read the description. So let's just do that first. This game is played with one pack only, but requires considerable space to lay it out, all the cards being displayed. The first that turns up is the base card. This is placed on the board, and the 3 similar cards are put in a perpendicular line with it as they show up. Now, on either side of this line, place 4 rows, each containing 5 cards. You will now have 8 cards remaining, which you will place in a narrower row of 4 on each side of a vacant space below the base cards. This is the prison. Having laid out the pack thus, you now proceed to build on the bases, and you may do so in either the ascending or descending scale, according as the cards show the best chances of success. But you must build on all alike. You cannot go up on one and down on another, and you must follow suit. The only cards available for you to take are the outside ones of the rows. There are only 10, therefore, to work from, but you have the privilege of packing on these outside cards, and as long as you follow suit, you may pack up or down as you will. If you can succeed in emptying any of the rows, you may move an outside card into the vacant space, and this gives you an opportunity to unpack, if desirable. And I'm going to skip this part because she just describes a situation where you can use an empty space to reverse the order of some cards. This privilege does not extend to the 2 rows of the prison. They cannot be moved up, they can only be worked off on the bases. When you have built and packed as far as you can and find yourself blocked, you have still another chance. You may take any single outside card and place it in the prison, where it must remain until in due course it works off on its proper base. If there are still insuperable obstacles in the way, some players allow the further privilege of gathering up the cards, except the base packets in the prison, shuffling, and laying them out again in rows of 5 on each side, as far as they will go. But strict players object to this indulgence. The game, however, with all the chances you can get, is a very difficult one. So the 2 changes that George made are, first, over here. This privilege does not extend to the 2 rows of the prison. In Jones's original description, it says, this privilege does not extend to the 2 rows by the prison, implying that the prison is actually the one empty space between the 2 rows. The 2 rows themselves are not the prison. The other change that George made, and I think also is proof of this, is over here when he says gathering up all the cards except the base packets and the prison. In Jones's original description it says except the base packets and the prisoner, singular prisoner, which I think is also more proof that the prison is just the one space with 1 card in it, not the entire row. So we're going to try not to make those same mistakes when we play the game ourselves. So let's go do that now. So, since this is my first time recording with a deck that is not just a standard bicycle deck, I figured I'd show off the box. I got this from a mystery pack of 5 decks. Basically, there's a seller on eBay where you pay them and they give you 5 random decks from their collection. And, it seems like the way they do it is they give you one really nice deck, like this one, which looks great and feels great, and then they give you some, well, I don't want to call it junk, but we'll just say gray loot. Stuff like airline decks, casino decks, that sort of thing. But I don't really mind that because I think there's actually something kind of charming about cheap decks. Like the fact that airlines have their own decks is just like kind of amusing and fun to me. And the casino decks actually look and just kind of dime a dozen. So there's another version of this game that was in David Parlett's book, The Penguin Book of Patience. And David Parlett says he got the game from Whitmore Jones, but his description is kind of a lot different than the description we just read or the description in Jones's book. So I'm not really sure how that happened. But if you've played this game from Parlett's version, you'll probably notice it's very different from this one. So if it seems different, that's why. If you didn't quite catch all the rules from the description in the book, don't worry, I'm going to explain it as we set the game up. We'll do one more shuffle and then we'll do that. Okay. So, the first card we draw is the base card. This is the card that will start all our foundations. And as we're dealing out the tableau, we're going to be keeping an eye out for these. And if we deal one, we're going to move it into the center. The foundation goes in the center, kind of like Beleaguered Castle. We're also going to be stacking the cards very close together vertically because there's not a lot of space for this game. It's the only one that is 5 cards tall that I've played so far. There's one of our 9s. So you deal out 4 rows of 5 cards each on either side of the foundation. By the prison. I'm just going to call them the prison rows. And there's 4 on each side. And this empty space between the 2 prison rows is called the prison. So the goal of the game is to build all the foundations up in ascending or descending order. You get to choose which. Once you reach the king, if you're going up, you wrap around to the ace. And if you're going down, once you reach the ace, you wrap around to the king. The foundations are built in suit, so all the cards on each foundation must be the same suit. On the tableau, we have access to any of the outside cards, and that includes the 2 outside cards on the prison row. The tableau is built up or down in suit, but unlike on the foundations, you can build up or down as you please. You're not restricted to one. You can move cards onto any other row, including the prison rows, but the prison rows cannot be moved up back to the tableau. Cards in the prison row can only be played directly to the foundation. At any point, you can take one of the outside cards and move it into the prison. But while it's in the prison, it can't be moved back up to the tableau. It follows the same rules the prison rows, where you can only move it to the foundation. Cards can only be moved one at a time, and if you empty out one of the rows, the empty space may be used for any card. The tableau piles also wrap around, so if you build up to king, you can put an ace on top of a king, or you can put a king on top of an ace. That pretty much covers all the rules, so let's take a look and see if there's anything we can do. This game is very hard, by the way, and it seems like most deals are not winnable, so this might take a while to get a win. So So the first thing we have to do is decide if we want to build up or down. Now I'm seeing if we build down, we can move the 8 and the 7 to the foundation. We could also move this ace here and move these two 8s to the foundation. So down is looking like a pretty attractive choice. The only thing I'm seeing is this king might be a problem, but we might be able to move it to the prison and get it out of the way so we can get these cards. Okay, so we're gonna build down, I think. So we'll move the 8 and the 7 to the heart foundation. Then we move the ace to the 2, and you can move these two cards to the foundation as well. Now, unfortunately, we don't have anywhere to put this 3. If we did, we would have an empty space, which would be very useful, but unfortunately, we do not. Now, remember, we can move cards to the prison rows, but you have to be very careful when you do that. We're building down, so if I were to move this 6 to the prison row, I would not be able to access the 7. The only way we can access the 7 is if we move the 6 to the prison first. Then we would move the 7 to the foundation, and then the 6, which might be an option, but we don't know yet. But we'll keep that idea open. Now, where's the 8 of clubs? That would be useful to have. It's right here. Now, would it be a good idea? No, it would not. I was thinking maybe moving the jack to the prison, but then we can't move this. I don't think it would be worth it. You have to be careful when you move cards to the prison because you can't get them out until they can be moved to the foundation, which can cause some problems. Now remember, we get one redeal, so if one strategy you could do is on the first deal, just try to get as many cards to the foundation as you can, and then when you redeal, you might be in a better situation. And just looking at here, that might be what we end up doing because I don't see anything else we can do. I don't even think we have any more moves available. We would have to move something to the prison first, but even if we do that, I'm not seeing many options. These face cards all being on top make it really annoying because if we move one of these to the prison, we're not going to be able to get it out for a really long time. Now we could potentially move this to the prison and get access to the 2, but I don't know if that does anything. Actually, well, maybe it does. Let's take a look. We move the ace to the prison, the 2 can go here, then we get the queen. We can move the queen either to here or here, and then we can move that card out. Or maybe we don't even do that. Maybe we just move one of the cards straight to the queen. But I would like to get to this 7, so actually just looking at it, I don't think we're going to want to do that because we need to get this 7 to the foundation before we can get to the 6. And if we're moving the ace to the prison, we can't move the 7 to the prison, so I really want to get this, but I don't know how we do that. Okay, I think I see a way to open an empty space, so we're going to do that. We're going to move the ace into the prison, then the 2 goes back here. Then we move the queen to this jack. We move the king over, the 7 goes to the foundation. Then we move the jack to this queen, the 10 can go to this jack, and then the 5 goes to the 6. So this is already further than we get in the majority of deals for this game because, like I said, this game is very hard. Usually we don't get an empty space like this, but let's see if we can do anything with it. The thing I really want is to get to this 8. Oh, I just realized we can move this 7 to the foundation. I missed that. Unfortunately, I'm not really seeing anything we can do with the empty space. We could move the 5 and the 6 to here, and then the ace could go here, or the ace could go up there, but that doesn't really get us anything. We don't need this, and we're blocked at this king. We might have to use our redeal and hope we get lucky. God, I wish we could get to this 8. Alright, I think we're gonna redeal. So you take everything except the base cards and the prisoner, and you shuffle it up again, and then deal it. You deal 5 cards to each row, but since we've used used cards and put them on the foundation, that means we're going to have less than 5 cards in each row. And when I'm doing this redeal, instead of doing it like I did on the first deal, I'm going to deal the prison rows as if they're normal rows. And the reason I'm going to do that is because if you don't, then what ends up happening, so if you do it like the initial deal where you deal these rows first and you leave the prison for last, you end up with a situation where if you've moved enough cards to the foundation, the prison rows end up empty. The prison rows end up empty, so you get 2 free spaces essentially for free, and that feels a bit too OP to me. I don't think that was the original intention of the redeal rule. So instead, I'm just gonna deal all the rows like they're the same. But the prison rows will still follow the same rule once we're done with the redeal, where they can only be moved to the foundation. Oh, that's a shame. 2 clubs that we need. Oh, and a heart that we need on the bottom row. That's brutal. And they're covered by base cards. That's a shame getting the queen covered because, like, oh wait, no, we can move this to the foundation. Okay, so we have some play here with these 3 hearts, these 3 base cards. This 6 being blocked underneath all these prison row cards is going to be a tough situation. Oh, I think we're actually blocked. Because we have the 10 ace here, this 10 would need to be moved to the prison, but the prison is an ace, and we can't get to the ace without a 6. So this is something that happens sometimes where the prison row can create an unwinnable situation. So we're gonna end this game, and we're gonna move on to the next one. Now, because this game is so frequently unwinnable, I'm probably gonna cut some of the games from the recording, just because many games end up in such a way where you just don't get to make any moves. Like, the start doesn't give you enough options, you can't really do anything, so I'm probably going to cut out those games and just leave the ones where stuff actually happens. Jack is our base card. 7's on like the other side. So, okay, this is what I'm thinking about doing. Move these queens. We're going to leave this for now, but what we are going to do is we're going to move this 9 to the 10, this 3 to here, and grab this queen as well. Now, where's our kings? We've got one here, but it's the one we don't have, and we can't move it to get this one. Now we could move this to the prison and get the 4 to move here, and then get the king. But I don't know if that's worth it. Moving stuff to the prison to get one card usually doesn't seem worth it. That's similar. Actually, moving this to the prison might not be. No, because we need to still get to the queen. Okay, I think I am going to move this 7 to the prison. Take this queen. Then we take the king and the king. Now, let's see. Actually, we do have the option of moving the 5 to here, the 4 into the prison row, and then we move the 2 to here and we get an empty space, so let's do that. Now, we're not going to be able to get to these cards now because, well, actually, maybe we can if we can get all the way up there, but we're sort of relying on the redeal. Now, we could get an ace by moving the 2 and the 3 to here, and then we take this. Unfortunately, we can't get the 2 and 3 back into the foundation because they're going to be in the wrong order, and we can't move one of them to the prison because it's in use by that 7. I wish this was a club. We could move the 6 to here, 2 to empty, 3 to 4, and then 2 to 3, and then we could move all that stuff to the foundation, but unfortunately, it's a spade. Okay, wait. I might see something. We can get a second empty space. So we move the 6, and then the 5, or the 5, then the 6. Move the 8 here. That can go to the prison row, and then that. Now I don't know if that actually did anything for us. I don't think it did, actually. Well, we can do this. And now we can get this king if we want. Now I think we might do that. We'll move the 10, and then grab this to the foundation, and now I think we're going to redeal. Whoops. Now let's hope we get lucky. Aces near the top. Unfortunately, this one's already at the bottom, and our 2 cards is also at the bottom, and this is not going to be on top either. Oh, I just realized I was not dealing. Whatever. We'll just do it now. Oh, that's pretty nice. We might be able to grab that. Oh, that's also nice. I'm hoping those don't get covered. I can't do the math. I can't do the math with how many cards I have left. Oh, very nice. Okay. So we did get kind of lucky. We can move this to here, this to here, and we can also grab this. Now, where was that 2 of clubs? It's here, unfortunately. Oh, have we lost? Oh, I didn't realize we had this king as well. And we have this we can take. Now we can't move this 7 to the prison row because then we're not going to be able to get to the 2 of clubs. we need to work this off first. Then we can move the 6 and grab the 2. That's our only option for that. It would still be worth moving this ace to the foundation, though, just to get it off the board. Now we can actually empty out a space here. We move the 9 here, and then the 3 here. So maybe we can get something done. So we really want to work on the hearts. Okay, I see some moves we can make. We move this here. This 3 can go to the foundation. We move the 8 here, and then the ace goes to the foundation. Now we need the 2 of hearts. We can do this. 2 of hearts. 3 of hearts. 4 of hearts. Now we need the 5 and the 6 before we can free this and then work on getting this 2. So the 5 is here, and the 6 is here. Okay, I see how we can get the 5. So we move this 10, the 6, and this 8. The 6 goes to the empty space, the 10 goes here, the 6 here, 4 to the foundation, and then 5 to the foundation. Now we just need the 6. And we can get it. We move the 5 here. We take the ace, and then we have the 6. And the 7 can go here. This game is actually looking like very promising. Wow, we might have actually won. I very rarely win this game. Okay, we need to be very careful about which card we choose to put in the prison, so we don't accidentally block the game right when victory is in our grasp. Okay, I think this is safe. Yes, we definitely won. Awesome. I swear yesterday I played this game for like 2 hours straight and did not win a single game. I'm very happy we won one on camera. All right. Awesome. We won. Wait. Where was the... Oh. Well, okay. Well, I accidentally put the 10 of hearts on the diamonds, but you know I meant to put it here, so I'm still gonna count it as a win. Alright. Can we get another one? I seriously doubt it, but we're definitely gonna try. Now the rules in the book say that strict players do not do the redeal, but in my opinion this game is already hard enough with the redeal, so... Deal our next game. The Jack is the base card again. That's funny. I think that's the first time I've got the same base card 2 games in a row. Well, the 10s and 9s are... we have a bunch of them on the bottom, so we might end up going up again. Although we got kings kind of on the bottom too, so... Sorry if you see a lot of cuts in this one. I'm recording this during the day, which I usually don't do, but so there's going to be a lot of sound that I have to cut out. So if you see a lot of random cuts, that's why. we're gonna have a similar problem with the clubs. Oh wait, no, we're not, because we get the king first because it wraps around. Okay. Well, alright, I think we're gonna go up. So let's move our queens. And we actually get this king too. That's nice. Where's the ace of clubs? Now the ace of clubs is right here. We could move this 2 to the 3 and grab the ace, but I just want to make sure we're not going to regret that. Where's the king of spades? That's down here. That's rough. Okay, I think I see a way to get an open space. Nice, okay. Oh no, we don't have the queen of diamonds yet, I forgot, or the king. Okay, so, well, we'll see if I'm gonna regret that. For some reason, I just assumed we had those. Oh wait, I'm silly, I totally missed this obvious move. Okay, so we do have a space. Now can we use that to get to the king of spades and then move the... If we get to the king of spades, we can move this, and then we get the queen of hearts too. Now we could move this 5 to the 4. That would block us here, but we get a redeal, so maybe it's worth it just to get as many cards to the foundation as possible. The real problem I'm seeing is this 10. We don't have anywhere to move it once we get to it. The 9 is here, but we don't have anywhere to put this either. Now, I'm really scared about moving this 10 to the prison because we're not going to be able to get it until we stack up all the diamonds. And after we redeal, we don't know if we're going to be able to do that, so we might end up blocked. Okay, I might have something. Although I haven't fully worked it out. Okay, let's see if this goes anywhere. Okay, we've got 2 empty spaces now. That's pretty good. Are we gonna win 2 in a row? There's no way, right? I might be talking way too soon. Okay. Here's my plan. So we're gonna do this first. Now we're gonna do the thing that Mary Whitmore Jones described in her book, which is we're gonna take this and we're gonna move it to an empty space to reverse it. Now we move this here. Oh no, we move it to here. And then this empty space. We take the king. And now we can take the ace, 2, and 3. Let's do this and get our queen of diamonds. Now the king is still way down here. Where's the 3 of clubs? It's right here. Okay, I see something. Wow, this is going really well. I think we might actually have a chance of winning 2 in a row. Something I've never done with this game. We move this to the prison. Now let's just take this and then we can move this. So our prison is still empty. Wow, this is all working out. Now we have to do this to get our king of diamonds. The question is if we can free this. Maybe we can. Now we can get our 5 of diamonds. This came out of the foundation, then we free our 6 from the prison. Oh my god, I think we won without even using the redeal. I've never done that before. This goes to the prison, let's just play that, and then that. just want to make it clear that I'm getting very lucky in all of these videos so far. I keep saying stuff like there's no way I win or things like that, and then I end up winning. That's not due to some skill or whatever. I'm just getting lucky. Like, I've played this game so many times offline in preparation for this video. I played probably like 30 games, and before I started recording, I think I won 4. So, it's like, it's actually shocking how lucky I'm getting. Alright, we'll try again. I'm gonna be very surprised if we win 3. That's boring. When you get an ace as the base card, I think that's boring. Unfortunately, it looks like all our kings and twos are not in a very good spot, or at least some of them. Oh, I forgot. Sometimes when I'm dealing, I forget to move the base cards to the foundation because I just kind of get in the flow of dealing. Okay, it actually looks like up and down are pretty decent options. So if we go down, we can grab these 2s, and then if we can get rid of this somehow, we can take this 2 as well. But if we take kings, we get both of these. And we get this. Decisions. I think I'm gonna go down. Or sorry, up, I mean. I wish we had a good spot for this. Well, maybe we do. No, we don't have anywhere to put this 10. If we did, oh, we can put it in the prison maybe. I think it's worth it to get an empty space. And because we also pick up a bunch of foundation cards. Let me just make sure there's not somewhere I can put this that I'm missing. The 10 is here. Can we move this king somewhere? Is there like an ace? Oh no, the ace is for the foundation. Where's the queen? Queen of spades. Why can't I find it? Here it is. Oh, that looks like we're not going to get to it. Where's the 8 of hearts? It's here. Again, doesn't look like we can get to it. But we do get an empty space. We get 2 empty spaces actually, so maybe this is worth moving to the prison. I can't believe how far each of these games is getting. I usually can't do anything past the first, like, sometimes I don't even get to make a move. I can't believe how lucky I'm getting. Okay, we can move like this, and then we can move these to the foundation. Now, unfortunately, we're probably going to have to redeal because I'm seeing that we have the 4 of clubs here and the 3's way back there, and we can't even just move this. Like, even if we were able to get the 9 onto the foundation and we move this to the prison, we're still not going to be able to get, we're not going to be able to get this 10 out of the way to get to the 3, so we're going to have to redeal. So our strategy is going to be to snag as many foundation cards as we can before we redeal. The smash and grab method. Let's just try this. This gets us a few. That might be all we have for now. Oh, wait. We could move this to the prison row, but it doesn't enable us to get any more cards. Okay, I think that's all we can do, so let's use our redeal. We did get a lot of cards to the foundation, so as long as our redeal isn't bad, we might have a chance. If we win 3 in a row, I'm gonna go crazy. See those high cards and face cards on the bottom, so that's a good sign. And in the bottom of the prison row is the most important. Getting high cards at the bottom of those prison rows. That's what we really want. Okay, that 4 is not what we want. Or is not where we want. By the way, if you think my interpretation of the rules is wrong, let me know what you think. Because sometimes I don't know if I'm fully interpreting the rules from these old books correctly. I'm just going by what I think makes sense. So I don't know if we're going to be able to win this one. Because of the 4 here. We can't get rid of this 9. We need to move the queen to the prison if we want a chance at this 4. So I think this one is just done. Unfortunately, the redeal did not work in our favor. Yeah, we have no way of getting to this 4. So that's going to be the end of this one. That game actually went pretty well. It made it pretty far, farther than most games go. I might do one more game that makes it far. Like maybe the next game that actually manages to get an empty pile. That's the one we'll end on. The fact that we won 2 today is insane to me. I know I keep going on about it, but you don't know how much I played this game before I started recording this video. Like I said last night, I had an entire 2-hour session where I just played game after game, and 80% of them went nowhere. And start recording today, and I'm just, every game is a decent game, and we have 2 winners. Maybe I'm not getting really lucky tonight. Maybe I was just really unlucky last night. That's also a possibility. We might be building down if we have so many jacks on the bottom like this. This jack and this king, this queen. The problem is, like I said before, we've got 2 jacks all the way at the bottom of their pile. Now what if we go down? We do get this 9, but honestly down doesn't look much better. We still have to get down to these 2 9s somehow. We don't have anywhere to move this queen. Honestly, both options don't look very great. This one doesn't seem like it's going to go anywhere. Now we're going to run into a huge problem here. If we decide to go down, our spades are going to be totally messed up, so we're going to have to rely on the redeal if we decide to go down. I think regardless of which way we're going to go, we're going to need to redeal if we want to get anywhere. And so I don't want to use the prison because I think using the prison is probably not going to be worth it for this first deal. Okay, so let's go up, and we'll take the cards we can, which is basically just those 2. I don't think we get any others. Okay, so we only moved 2 cards to the foundation, but we'll see what happens. We are recording. If I wasn't recording those 2 wins, I would have been very sad. I hope the cards weren't out of frame or something. It's hard to keep the cards from going out of frame in this game because it's such a tall game. Vertically, it takes up so much space. Regardless of how this last game goes, I think it's going to be my last one because my voice is getting kind of tired. So, after this redeal, I'm probably done. But this went better than I could have hoped for. Like, I can't believe how well this went. I've been recording for a really long time too, so I hope I didn't run out of space. That would be a shame. But I think I recorded the best parts. So I'm also just hoping the This might actually be not possible. This 5 being behind, or the king being behind the 5, might cause an issue. Where's the jack of spades, or the jack of clubs? The jack of spades is here. Jack of clubs is here. Someone in my house is listening to a sitcom very loudly, so I hope the laugh track isn't coming in the video. Yeah, I don't think this one is winnable. I'm trying to find a way we can move forward, but I'm not seeing anything. Maybe this does something. It's tempting to move the 4 here, but because this king is back here, we're not going to be able to even get to the 4. Yeah, I don't see any way forward. We can do this or this, but we can't move this ace. We can't move the 3. Well, we can move the 3 actually. I was actually wrong. That doesn't lead to anything though, does it? Like the 7. I don't think we can go anywhere. So I think that's going to be it then. I hope you enjoyed this video of a slightly obscure game. It's not like completely obscure, like I said, it is referenced in some other books, but it doesn't show up in modern collections very often, and when it does show up in collections, it's usually David Parlett's version, not this version, so